Gateway. A musical score within any film can add an additional layer to the film text, which goes beyond simply imitating the action viewed. In films that tell of futuristic worlds, composers, much like sound designers, have added freedom to create a world that is unknown and new to the viewer. However, unlike sound designers, composers often shy away from creating unique pieces that reflect these new worlds and often present musical scores that possess familiar structures and cadences. While it is possible that this may interfere with creativity and a sense of space and time, it in fact aids in viewer access to the film. Through recognizable scores, visions of the future or a galaxy far, far away can be placed within a recognizable context. Such familiarity allows the viewer to be placed in a comfortable space so that the film may then lead the viewer to what is an unfamiliar, but acceptable vision of a world different from their own. Number 1. In his 1967 book, Coopersmith first noticed a positive relationship between self-esteem levels in mothers and their children. But Bednar, Wells, and Peterson made considerable use of this factor by pointing out that parents actually show their children the route to self-esteem by how they handle their own challenges, conflicts, and issues. The impact of parents' behavior upon the child's self-esteem is undeniable. Given the immaturity of children, however, parents' expression of their own resolution of the self-esteem question is far more influential than what they teach verbally. Parents who face life's challenges honestly and openly and who attempt to cope with difficulties instead of avoiding them thereby expose their children early to a pro-self-esteem problem-solving strategy. Those who avoid dealing with difficulties reveal a negative route for handling the challenges and problems of life. Either way, it is important to remember that modeling helps set the stage for healthy self-esteem or problems with it. Number 2. Several different strategies will be used to get us to buy. For new products, marketers want to motivate us to try their product, so the job is to advertise it as much as possible to get the word out. With an established product, marketers will either want us to try it again, or they may try to get us to consume more of their product. A good way to do this is to provide new uses. One brand of baking soda is a good example. After women entered the job market en masse in the 1960s, and there was less time for baking, the company promoted using the product to keep the freezer and refrigerator smelling clean and to change the box every 3 months. Or when women started earning significant salaries and getting married later, the diamond industry started selling diamond rings to women, claiming that the left hand is for we and the right is for me. Number 3. When kids feel forced to do things or are too tightly regulated in the way they do things, they're likely to become less interested in what they're doing and less likely to stick with something challenging. In an intriguing experiment, parents were invited to sit on the floor next to their very young children, not even 2 years old, who were playing with toys. Some of the parents immediately took over the task or barked out instructions. Others were content to let their kids explore, providing encouragement and offering help only when it was needed. Later, the babies were given something else to play with, this time without their parents present. It turned out that, once they were on their own, those who had controlling parents were apt to give up more easily rather than trying to figure out how the new toy worked. Number 4. It is critical, as we recreate mutual provision in a sustainable form, that we keep track of the line between needs and wants. While a permanent place for people on Earth requires that our needs be met, people gathering about themselves quantities of unnecessary goods, while others lack food and shelter, cannot be part of a durable order. A society that oppresses other people to bloat itself will not stop at undermining foreign nations. The ethic will express itself with exploitation at home. While ingenuity and hard work will still lead to improved circumstances as communities increase their effective use of local resources, when one's achieved wealth is at the expense of others, much goodwill, effort, and resources will be lost to resentment, rebellion, and repression. A huge bonus is available for everyone when the focus of development is securing and improving the quality of life for all. Number 5. As Marshall McLuhan suggested so presciently in 1964, the medium is the message, which means that, beyond the content that is conveyed, the medium itself has an impact by its very nature and unique characteristics. For example, the use of social media means that we have less need to interact with others directly. This distancing of communication has real implications for children's development. If learning to communicate with others is a skill that develops with practice, children's constant use of social media reduces the experiences they have with which to learn social skills. McLuhan asserts that we are so focused on the content of the technology that we neglect to notice the influence of the technology itself on people. This observation is certainly true today. We focus on what the technology provides, but we fail to consider how the very act of using these advances shapes us. Number 6. Cities continue to reinvent themselves. In the last few decades, many have worked to reduce pollution and create appealing modern spaces by restricting polluting vehicles, encouraging energy-efficient buildings, and planting trees. In 2020, another impetus for change came in the form of COVID-19, which saw retail centers empty, businesses send workers home, and some question whether crowded cities were a safe environment. Yet cities have responded to changing circumstances in the past. Through the first kingdoms of Mesopotamia, global expansion, and the Industrial Revolution, they have evolved to remain at the heart of politics, economics, and culture. The history of the world is very much a history of great cities, and whatever future we build, these sites of trade, creativity, and transformation are likely to be at the heart of it. Number 7. Human cultures seem to be infinitely variable, but in fact that variability takes place within the boundaries produced by physical and mental capacities. Human languages, for example, are tremendously diverse, differing in sound, grammar, and semantics. But all are dependent upon what appears to be a uniquely human capacity and predisposition for learning languages. While the range of sounds used in human languages extends from clicks and pops to guttural stops, the distinctive speech sounds that are meaningful in all the languages of the world are but a fraction of the sounds it is possible for humans to make. Another way that we might observe the intricate relationship between the culturally specific and the universal is in the way an American boy and his Mixtec friends might react emotionally, even instinctively, to be larvae and onion soup, Whether they feel delight or disgust is determined by the way they learn to perceive food, but delight and disgust seem to be basic and universal human reactions to food. Number 8. Think about what happens in a standard scientific experiment to find out how a certain laundry detergent bleaches. In normal use, there are several factors that may cause the detergent to act in a certain way. These will include its active ingredients, the type and temperature of the water in which the ingredients are mixed, the materials being cleaned, and the machinery, if any, used to do the laundry. Any experiment that could hope to discover what caused bleaching would have to be devised in such a way as to ensure that the crucial factors were properly isolated from the other variables. So if, for example, the hypothesis is that it is the chlorine that does the bleaching, the experiment needs to show that if all the other factors remain the same, the presence or absence of the chlorine will determine whether the laundry detergent bleaches. Number 9. AI's effects on human knowledge are paradoxical. On the one hand, AI intermediaries can navigate and analyze bodies of data vaster than the unaided human mind could have previously imagined. On the other, this power, the ability to engage with vast bodies of data, may also accentuate forms of manipulation and error. AI is capable of exploiting human passions more effectively than traditional propaganda. Having tailored itself to individual preferences and instincts, AI draws out responses its creator or user desires. Similarly, the deployment of AI intermediaries may also amplify inherent biases, even if these AI intermediaries are technically under human control. The dynamics of market competition prompt social media platforms and search engines to present information that users find most compelling. As a result, information that users are believed to want to see is prioritized, distorting a representative picture of reality. Much as technology accelerated the speed of information production and dissemination in the 19th and 20th centuries, in this era, information is being altered by the mapping of AI onto dissemination processes. Number 10. It is not a coincidence that children turn out like their parents. From the moment you come into the world, your mother and your father are your role models. As little girls grow, they try on their mother's clothes, put on her makeup, and pretend to be her. When little boys come of age, they play with their father's tools and try to build or fix something for real. The truth of the matter is that children look up to their parents as mentors. They praise them and hold them in high regard. The greatest compliment they can give their parents as they grow is to turn out just like them. If you stop to take a personal inventory, you may find that you are much like those that you emulate. A parent, a coach, a teacher, or a leader all leave their mark on the final package, with your name on it. When you look in the mirror, you may see one or all of them in the reflection. Number 11. We are all familiar with battles between reason and desire. Socrates asks whether there are thirsty people who don't wish to drink. Indeed, there are. A sign on a faucet that reads "non-potable water, do not drink" won't take away a person's thirst, but she won't want to drink there. Yet there is something paradoxical about this. The word thirsty means wishes to drink. So we are imagining people who wish to drink and do not wish to drink. How could that be? It is obvious that the same thing will not be willing to do or undergo opposites in the same part of itself, in relation to the same thing, at the same time. So, if we ever find this happening in the soul, we'll know that we aren't dealing with one thing but many. In other words, since no one thing can both wish to drink and not wish to drink, no one thing can have both of those two characteristics. We thus manage this by being more than one. One part of the soul wishes to drink, and another does not wish to drink. Number 12. Media executives understand that they must think of their audiences as consumers who buy their products or whom they sell to advertisers. The complaining individual might be successful in getting the content changed or even removed if he or she convinces the media executives that they might otherwise lose a substantial portion of their target market. But an individual's concern will garner little attention if it is clear that the person does not belong in the target audience. The editors from Cosmopolitan magazine, which aims at 20-something single women, for example, are not likely to follow the advice of an elderly-sounding woman from rural Kansas who phones to protest what she feels are demeaning portrayals of women on covers of the magazine that she sees in the supermarket. Yet the magazine staff might well act favorably if a Cosmopolitan subscriber writes with a suggestion for a new column that would attract more of the upscale single women they want as readers.